Hello and welcome to a new live episode of the Alex Nitzberg Show. I'm Alex Nitzberg, and today I'm going to be talking to you about climate alarmism and just this whole ideology around climate alarmism that's being pushed. I'm also going to talk to you about some other issues, including Education Secretary Miguel Cardona, his reference to Ronald Reagan and what the actual context of that clip is. And I'm going to show you some other stuff as well. So thank you for joining me today. Don't forget, if you've been enjoying these episodes, normally I start out over here and then I switch over, but I was over there. But anyway, if you've been enjoying these episodes, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, follow me over on X, the platform previously known as Twitter, where I'm also tweeting and sharing stuff all week, including my articles from the Blaze and just funny stuff and different things. So please follow me over there if you haven't already. And don't forget to give this thumbs up if you enjoy it. Let me get over to here again. All right, so, it's always ironic, and it happens, when the climate alarmists who are telling everybody that they need to stop using certain fuels and all this stuff, they all converge to have a conference. Generally, a lot of them are probably flying in, I'm assuming. So they fly in to their conferences so they can talk about how they need to stop using fuel. It's just always very ironic. It's like you guys are telling everybody that we need to cut back on, they call it fossil fuel. I really question the assumption on that, the idea of it coming from fossils and all that sort of thing. But anyway, I'll just refer to it as fossil fuel because that's the general terminology that's used. So they want you to cut back on that, but then what do? They fly their jets in to talk about it, generally speaking. So at least that's what my assumption is, that a lot of them are flying in. So anyway, this guy here, this is the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, and I'm going to show you some clips of him spouting this very dramatic climate alarmism. It's dramatic. Listen here to what he has to say.
Second, we cannot save a burning planet via fire holes of fossil fuels. We must accelerate a just, equitable transition to renewables. The science is clear. I was among the melting glaciers.
So you hear the language here, just, equitable transition and stuff. So when people are promoting this climate alarmism, you hear this sort of buzzwords and things, and it's like, it's somehow, and it's interesting because I have a clip of John Kerry in a little bit saying it's not political. But when you listen to it, usually it's leftist. It's like this whole, the word equitable and also that sort of stuff. Let me play another clip of him here.
But this is just one symptom of the sickness bringing our climate to its knees. A sickness only you, global leaders, can cure. Excellencies, Earth's vital signs are failing. Record emissions, ferocious fires, deadly drought, damage funds. Congratulations.
Anyway, let me stop that. So you hear him saying that only you, global leaders, can cure the sickness. We've got these globalists. I mean, the whole climate change narrative is globalist in scope because it's the idea that all the nations need to work together in order to cut down on the fuel consumption, the greenhouse gas emissions, and all that sort of stuff. So it is basically inherently a globalist ideology. And let me just show you this, and let me skip over here for a second. This guy, oh wait, where it is not that one. Well, I lost it. There was a guy, here he is. I got it out of order. Mark Cook. Thank you to Mark Cook for sending me this. Because he sent me the link to this here. This is a video. It says it's from 1978, but basically it's this old video. And it actually says down here, Leonard Nimoy, I believe you can hear his voice in the background. And what they're talking about here is a coming ice age. Well, that obviously is not happening. So it's just more evidence that, that didn't happen. This catastrophic global warming they're talking about is not going to happen. And if you look through the history of science, oftentimes the majority thinks something isn't true. They believe something that's not true. So let me show you this.
The brutal buffalo winter might become common all over the United States. Climate experts believe the next ice age is on its way. According to recent evidence, it could come sooner than anyone had expected. At weather stations in the far north, temperatures have been dropping for 30 years. Seacoasts long free of summer ice are now blocked year-round. According to some climatologists, within a lifetime, we might be living in the next ice age.
Okay, so literally the opposite of what the globalist climate alarmists are telling you now. The precise opposite. Back then they were warning about an ice age, apparently. Now they're warning about, this catastrophic global warming and all that stuff. So it's just interesting to look back at that and see how wrong that was anyway. Okay, so John Kerry, special presidential envoy for climate or whatever here, he is giving a speech here. I'm going to show you this clip. He says this is not political. Here's what he had to say.
So I'm not going to say more about it, except to say that if we can't hear Mother Nature and can't judge with our own eyes what the science is telling us, this is not about politics. There's no ideology. There's no pejorative against any one business or any approach. There is simply mathematics and physics and some chemistry and biology.
I had no idea
Okay, so that's what he's saying. And maybe he believes that because he believes that that this is really happening, this thing. And here's the thing. I don't know if there's some warming on the globe. I don't know if humans can contribute to it at all, but their policy is detrimental to everyone. I mean, cutting back on affordable fuels, making things more expensive, even to a certain extent, their own policies when it comes to producing all the batteries and stuff. Well, what about, in their own paradigm, what about all the greenhouse gas and all the stuff from the mining and stuff for the products to create, the Teslas and stuff like that, even in their own paradigm, But the thing is, it's like, and I'm going to get to it here, if you're a Christian, if you believe the Bible, this catastrophic climate change narrative is not biblical. This idea that humans are going to we're going to wipe out the earth, and that idea is not right. And also, if your goal is human flourishing, if your goal is for people to have cheap energy and to be able to pull themselves out of poverty, for countries to be able to build themselves up and for people to be able to get ahead, then this is the exact wrong policy. You want to pursue a policy of cheap energy, and definitely not, of course, obviously, this whole problem with the climate alarmism and also the globalism that these people are promoting. Instead of, focusing on doing what's best for each country, they're trying to force their own country, force other countries, force everyone to kind of follow this green energy agenda. Here is Vice President Kamala Harris, a tweet that says, "The U.S. is committed to expanding international climate finance. I am proud to announce a new $3 billion pledge to the Green Climate Fund to help developing countries access capital to invest in resilience, clean energy, and nature-based solutions." So that's not good for the American people. I'm pretty sure the American people would rather keep that $3 billion, So however that's being funded or whatever, I'm assuming that's coming out of, if the government's funding that, I didn't read this press release here, but if the government's funding it, that's not good. Here's something interesting. Representative Chip Roy of Texas, and as you can see here, a number of other Republicans are backing this, has proposed a bill to basically block federal funds from going toward John Kerry's job. And I think this is an excellent bill, which obviously will not pass. We would have to have Republicans, conservative Republicans in both chambers of Congress, and obviously a conservative president for this to actually go through, or a huge majority in Congress to override a veto. But anyway, this bill says, notwithstanding any other provision of law, no federal funds may be used for the Special Presidential Envoy for Climate, including for salary, administrative, and travel expenses for the Special Presidential Envoy for Climate, and for any other activity of the Special Presidential Envoy for Climate. So let me know in the comments below, would you support completely blocking funds from going to John Kerry and his, what he's doing there? Because I would absolutely say yes to that. Every cent that the United States government spends on promoting this climate alarmism, green energy, all this stuff, is another penny that could have been either just not spent. So either people could have been taxed less, or they could have printed less money, less inflation. But Americans should be keeping their own money. The government should not be spending their money on this garbage and making everything more expensive in the process, probably. Like I was saying, I wanted to talk about the Bible a little bit here. If you look at the book of Genesis here, look at this. It says, "While the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease." That is kind of the crux, one of the cruxes anyway, of this problem. If you believe God and not, the climate alarmists, then this idea of a catastrophic planetary collapse. One of the things Antonio Guterres mentioned in one of the clips, I don't think I played it for you there, he talked about planetary crash and burn. He uses very dramatic language. But this is not biblical, okay? God is saying here, and this is after the flood and everything, he's saying that the seasons are going to continue. The way it is going to continue until the end of the world. And speaking of the end of the world, I just want to mention over here, this is in Second Peter. This is global warming that is true. This is real. This is global warming that mankind should be worried about. You know, you need to trust in Christ's payment for your sins so that you can be saved, so that when you die, you can be with God in heaven and not, you know, suffer punishment in hell. But this is global warming that you can actually get behind in the sense that it's true. The day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. And down here you can see it says, the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. So if you want to talk about global warming, there's global warming. But yeah, so, and also I just want to mention this here. Here's a tweet from Biden saying, we passed the biggest investment in the history of the world to combat climate change without a single Republican vote. Well, thank goodness for that, because unfortunately there are Republicans who do support the climate alarmism, climate change narrative. And that's not good. If you're going to be conservative, this stuff is garbage. You need to reject this stuff. It's bad for the economy. It's a complete waste of time and money. But anyway, I responded to this. Because if you notice this, when politicians are talking about investing in this, investing in that, investing is code for spending basically money. And I said I wish the government would stop investing in things and just let me keep more of my own earnings. And that applies to this, obviously, the regulations and the goals and the stuff that the Biden administration is pushing with the green energy stuff, the climate stuff. It's not good for the economy. But that applies to everything. There is so much government waste spending money on stuff. And if they would stop spending money on all this stuff, we could keep more of our own money. They could stop inflating away the currency and stealing our money that way. They could stop, taxing us as much and taking our money that way. In fact, it seems like every year around tax time, it's kind of almost surprising. Like, it seems like there should be more Americans outraged at how much money the government is taking from them. I mean, I to a certain extent, people are used to it, but when you look at it and it's this huge chunk of your money, coming out of your paycheck, people should be more upset, I think, about that, more outraged about that. And more people should be voting for conservatives to stop that from happening, but here we are. All right, new topic. This is Education Secretary Miguel Cardona referencing a famous quote from Ronald Reagan. And let me just play you what he said here.
We're going to set up follow-up calls with every governor we met with to make sure we're available. As I think it was President Reagan said, we're from the government. We're here to help. There are resources there, there's technical assistance there, and there's a playbook that could support the work you're doing. Count on us as a partner in this.
Okay, so if you are at all familiar with famous quotes from Ronald Reagan, you will likely recall that the quote is, the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. The idea of being, when the government comes to help, you probably don't want that help. Bad things are going to happen. It's just, you don't want the government interfering in your life. You don't want the government's help. You want the government to leave you alone. Interestingly, and I'm going to show you that clip, if you're actually watching the context of when Reagan said that, he actually is kind of saying it to preface him going on to say something about the government helping farmers and agriculture and stuff. So it's interesting. People think of Reagan as this really rock-ribbed conservative, a great conservative. But, even here, we have this clip where I don't know the ins and outs of what he's talking about, but it sounds like he's talking in a positive way about the government intervening, offering help to farmers, which if you're conservative or libertarian or whatever, that is not good. You do not want the government intervening to help anybody, whether they're big business, small business. I mentioned on a tweet this week, why do we have a small business administration? Like, we should not, I don't think we should have a small business administration. I mean, let the small businesses do their thing, but the federal government should not be involved in any way. I don't think. And small businesses, you can let me know what you think about that. But anyway, watch this clip in the context in which he said this.
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. A great many of the current problems on the farm were caused by government-imposed embargoes and inflation, not to mention government's long history of conflicting and haphazard policies. Our ultimate goal, of course, is economic independence for agriculture, and through steps like the tax reform bill, we seek to return farming to real farmers. But until we make that transition, the government must act compassionately and responsibly. In order to see farmers through these tough times, our administration has committed record amounts of assistance, spending more in this year alone than any previous administration spent during its entire tenure. No area of the budget, including defense, has grown as fast as our support for agriculture. Earlier this month, we announced our decisions on grain exports, and this morning we announced a drought assistance task force, and with regard to storage problem, the availability of price support loans for all the grain in this year's crop. The message in all this is very simple. America's farmers should know that our commitment to helping them is unshakable.
All right, I'll stop it there. So it sounds like he's saying that the government messing around had messed up the farmers and they're trying to get them out of it. But it's just interesting that actually the context of that clip was kind of him talking about the government basically helping. So, yeah, but that is a good quote. I mean, it's a great quote. You don't want the government helping. All right, so some of you guys might have watched the Gavin Newsom, Ron DeSantis debate that was moderated by Sean Hannity on Fox News. I'm going to show you this clip here of DeSantis describing Newsom as a slick, slippery politician, which just seems like a fitting description of him. He does kind of give off that sort of, that sort of vibe. Let me show you this here.
This is a slick, slippery politician whose state is failing. People are leaving his state, and he's trying to run interference for his failure.
We've got to take our question. We've got to take our second. We've got to take our second.
Anyway, so that was him attacking Newsom there. All right. So also I have Trump. This is Fox News article. Trump was quoted saying, "I thought it was a very even debate. They both worked hard and they both did well." So, he didn't take the opportunity to attack DeSantis or Newsom, really. He just kind of said, even debate. Also, Tucker Carlson has said that he's going to vote for Trump. I'm going to show you this clip where he's talking to Roseanne Barr. He even said something to the effect of, if Trump gets convicted, he will donate the maximum donation to him and lead protests. Let me show you that.
Yeah. But I became an active Trump supporter when they raided Mar-a-Lago last summer, the summer of 2022. That can't stand.
No, that can't.
And
that was something.
Agree with Trump on a lot. But even if I disagreed with Trump on a lot, I'd still be a Trump supporter, because you cannot allow that. You cannot allow the regime, the president of the United States, to use the Justice Department to knock the front runner out of the race. You can't do that.
No, you can't do that.
So it's bigger than Trump. It's bigger than Biden. It's a question of, do you want to live in a free country with a functioning justice system?
That's exactly
and
right.
So I'm voting for Trump. And if they convict him, I will send him the max donations and I will lead protests. That's how I feel.
That's how I feel.
Because, and by the way, if I thought that he had committed some real crime, I wouldn't feel that way, but he didn't. He and Biden are both found with classified documents at home along.
Hyundai Palisade.
All right, I'm going to stop that because I got a commercial here. But, yeah, so Tucker's saying he's going to vote for Trump. I think a lot of people probably feel the way he's saying there. I would contend that if Trump ends up being the Republican nominee, which is extremely likely, then absolutely, yeah, I'm going to vote for him too. And I would recommend that you do too. But I would contend that if you are a conservative, that in the primary, he is not the best choice. I think that DeSantis is more conservative than he is. If you disagree with me and you want to present an argument on why you think Trump is actually more conservative than DeSantis, feel free to leave me a comment. But I do not think there is an argument to be made that Trump is more conservative than DeSantis. I think it's pretty clear that DeSantis is more conservative than Trump, and that if you are a conservative, maybe you're upset about what's happening to Trump and you want to support him. The thing is, your goal should be to elect the most conservative president, not just to vindicate Trump and be like, stick it to the man because you put Trump back in there. The goal should be pick the most conservative president. And if you're worried about Trump getting convicted and that kind of stuff, if DeSantis is president, I'm pretty sure that if anything happened to Trump, he would probably pardon him and Trump will be fine. But I know a lot of you probably are Trump people, and maybe you like DeSantis, but you think Trump is whatever your choice or whatever. But let me know in the comments below, what argument can you make on why you think Trump is more conservative than DeSantis, if you believe that? Or is it maybe you admit that Trump is not as conservative as DeSantis, but you just want to vote for him anyway? Some people might feel that way. But I'm going to vote for DeSantis in the primary if he's still in there. Maybe he'll drop out before the primary gets to Florida, because it actually looks like it might, even in Florida, Trump is winning. And if I was DeSantis, I'd probably drop out before the primary if I was going to lose my own state. But if he's still in, I'll probably vote for him, and then Trump will probably become the nominee, and then I'll definitely vote for Trump if he's the nominee. So we'll see what happens there. Okay, and speaking of DeSantis, this is pretty funny. Check this tweet out. The tweet says, to qualify for the Colorado primary ballot, the state party requires that candidates post something on social media that announces their excitement while encouraging their followers to follow the state's party social media accounts for updates about the party primary and events, about the state party primary events. So he's telling you, basically, I have to do this. The rest of the tweet says, I'm excited to officially be on the ballot in the Colorado primary. Coloradans, it's time for Republicans to start winning again. As your nominee, I will run Biden ragged across this country and help Republicans up and down the ballot win. Stay informed with @ColoGOP for updates. So it's like, I have to say this, and then he says it. So I thought that was kind of funny. It's like, well, if they're going to require him to say it, he's going to tell you he's required to say it by saying. So that just amused me. And then finally, this has nothing to do with regular news. It's not political at all. But, I think Teslas are kind of cool and interesting. And they're, coming out with this Cybertruck vehicle. And I thought this was a really neat video here. So I wanted to show you this.
But wait, there's more.
So isn't that cool? The Cybertruck is towing a Porsche, and it's beating the Porsche at the drag race while it's towing a Porsche. That's neat. I thought that was really kind of clever marketing there. I mean, because how cool is that? For the truck is pulling a sports car, and it beats the actual sports car. So that's very cool. All right, so that's it. Let me go to the comments. I saw I had some comments there. So what are you guys saying over here? I saw Victor Yarima had in quotes there, the science is clear, no debate. Yeah, that's basically what the leftists, what the climate alarmists are saying. They're beating that climate alarmism drumbeat, and so let's see. Uncle Martin said, it seems when they say there's a sickness, they're really the disease. They also say, do as we say, not as we do. The hypocrisy of the climate movement is astounding. Like I said, the people that fly on their jets so that they can go stand there and tell everybody how they need to cut their emissions and stuff like that is so preposterous, and they do it all the time. Like, it's just, it's dumb. It's super dumb. Yeah, the hypocrisy is ridiculous. And it's like, if you guys really believe this stuff so much, stop driving, stop taking airplanes, especially private jets. I mean, that's the dumbest. It's the people that take the private jets to these events. It's just so crazy. Live what you're preaching. If you really believe that all the fuel is so bad and that the people are, the world's going to be whatever, irrevocably damaged or destroyed or whatever it is they believe, then do it. If you believe that stuff, stop using the fuel. Let's see here. I see Frank Walker said, good job, dude. You were on point. The left is selling this country out to people that would like to see us. Curse word, I'm not going to say that, in 5-gallon buckets. But anyway, thank you. Thank you, Frank. Hey, Perseverance777 said, amen. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your support as always. Yeah, the climate alarmism stuff it's not good for the country. It's not good for the world, I should say. I mean, because it's not just this country, the whole world. It's not good for people. And whether you're rich or poor, it's not good for you if you're poor. It's not good for you if you're middle class. It's not even really good for you. I mean, maybe if you're making money off of it somehow, like if you're making money off the grift and off the promoting this ideology, it's good for you. But it's not even good for you if you're. I mean, it's just not good for. It's not good for the economy, and it's a lie. I mean, climate alarmism is a lie. There's no climate. I've been tweeting this. There is no climate crisis. There is no climate emergency. Climate alarmism is a lie. And I would argue, or I would suggest that if all of this stuff, if people stop doing it, if the governments and everybody just all at once stop promoting the climate alarmism, then in 30, 40, 50 years, the world will basically be about the same as it is now. There won't be any catastrophic results from us doing nothing as they suppose. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe to some extent, there is some influence from humans on the planet. But even if there is, I'm pretty sure that their prescription is much worse than doing nothing. Like, they argue that we must take this action or something bad will happen. Well, I would argue that even if you cede to them that they were right, like say we all agreed, okay, maybe burning all these fuels is having some impact on the climate, which I'm not ceding that. I'm just saying maybe. I don't know if there's an impact or not. But even if it's true, their prescription for it is horrible for the world. So yeah. Victor, you're remiss. It's probably even better if we do nothing. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if we do nothing, if we let the free market take course and we are not pushing all of this stuff, it's going to be better for people in the long run. So anyway, yeah. Perseverance 777 said fear is of the devil. All right, so thank you all for the comments. I appreciate it. Sometimes I do these shows and I get almost zero comments or hardly any comments. So I appreciate you guys leaving comments. Thank you for that. Thank you for, if you watched it, thank you. Also, if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to me on X. Things are going well on YouTube, but you never know if one day I say something they don't like and they kick me off. So it's always good to follow me somewhere else, just in case. If I ever get kicked off of here, whatever. If you're enjoying this content, then I would like you to follow me, like X. I won't get kicked off of probably, so that's good. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll be back next Saturday for another live episode. Sometimes in the middle of the week I post stuff too. But have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.